God is good, and today guys I want to discuss this game called Solasta, which is a very heavy D&D 5th edition game that is in early access right now, and it really sticks out to me because Baldur's Gate 3 is also in early access, which is also heavily based on D&D 5th edition. And we're going to talk about the differences because there are quite a few. But I want to talk about Solasta because it's made by a much smaller team, and some of the stuff they've done in this game, I really hope that Baldur's Gate 3 implements into their game, and this is my list of things that I hope that they do so. Now before we get started, if you are new here, please consider subscribing, especially if you love RPGs, CRPGs, JRPGs, and of course we cover MMORPGs, especially the old school kind. I specifically specialize in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and a big shout out to the members of Napalm for keeping this channel alive. Thank you so much for your support, and if you're interested in becoming a member of Napalm, please click the join button down below for more information and a list of perks. Now before I get into the things that I hope that they implement in Baldur's Gate 3 from Solasta, let's break down their differences, okay? So Solasta, for one thing, uses the D&D 5th edition rule set, however it is not a Dungeons & Dragons world. Also, Baldur's Gate 3 has much more in the way of choices in shaping the world and story, at least than Solasta does currently. Also, of course, should probably go without saying, but Baldur's Gate 3 is from Larian Studios, a much larger team than Solasta. Now, the very first thing I noticed about Solasta, which was something I wanted to see in Baldur's Gate 3 as soon as it released into early access, was the dice rolls. There's so much more visibility. Now, obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is doing a virtual dice roll for every attack and everything going on, but in Solasta, I really like that down in the corner, it actually shows those dice rolls. You can see your dice actually rolling out, and it's awesome. I really think that adds a lot to the game. Instead of just being able to pull up a chat box and see the dice rolls, actually visually seeing the dice roll feels very good. It just feels right for my nerdy little soul, and that's something I really hope that Baldur's Gate 3 adds as an option, and if they don't, I'm pretty sure there will be some mods out there that add that to the game. In any case, though, I think that's an opportunity for them to really dive into an even nerdier kind of way into Baldur's Gate 3, and I hope that they do that because I really enjoy that in Solasta. Also, because it being a more visual all the time kind of thing and seeing those dice rolls, it gives the option for there to be different kinds of dice. In Solasta, you have options on what your dice actually looks like, and that's just another little nerdy cool little thing, right? And I like it, and I'd love to see that in Baldur's Gate 3. Another thing is that the character creator in Solasta is so freaking nerdy. The options and sub-options are something that I really think Baldur's Gate 3 needs to nail into. Now, obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is in early access, so we haven't gotten to see fully what their character creator is going to look like in the end, and you can even see there are some options that are grayed out at the time of this recording, so obviously there's going to be more added to it, but I think that the developers at Larian need to take a good look at Solasta and just how almost seamlessly they've taken the character creator from the D&D player handbook and translated it into a video game, in my opinion, and it's super awesome and something that I really want to see Baldur's Gate 3 dig a little deeper into. Now, that goes into the abilities of the classes as well. So, of course, both these games are in early access, right? But Solasta slaps, man, I'm sorry, but it looked like to me there was practically all the 5th edition abilities in every single class, and I used some kind of weird ones just to test them out, because some of them I'm like, how does this translate into a video game? And I think Solasta did a really good job of trying to keep it legit by getting all those abilities squeezed in there. And that's something that I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to get very close to as well, but right now, at least at the time of recording, it hasn't gotten there yet. So there's a lot of things missing. There's a lot of options and archetypes and things like that that we just simply can't play. Now, we knew that going into Baldur's Gate 3, so please keep in mind, this isn't a complaint. This is just something that Solasta is doing correctly right now that I think Larian could really learn from. Also, light sources, which is a really big deal in Dungeons & Dragons, at least in most campaigns with most dungeon masters, and it's super important in Solasta and feels not so much important in Baldur's Gate 3. So that's something I really would like to see. So it's not just about being able to actually see the visuals of the game, although that's part of it, but also to avoid rolling disadvantages, which makes sense. If you can't see very well, you're going to be at a disadvantage, right? And that's the way Dungeons & Dragons works, and that's the way Solasta works. And light sources are super important in that game, and I love it. I love having to cast light on a weapon and it glowing my way through the party, and or grabbing a torch. You know, all that just feels right. It feels good and super nerdy, and I love it. Solasta allows you to also pick which characters in your party respond to dialogue options, and I really think Baldur's Gate 3 needs this desperately, as whoever you are controlling at the head of your party currently in Baldur's Gate 3 is the only one that can really make a choice. And a lot of times you get into dialogue things where your party members are just standing there and you're like, man, I would love for my rogue to do a deception on this, right? But I can't because I talked to this guy as my fighter. Now my fighter has to respond, or whatever the case may be. There's lots of situations when I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 that, you know, and once again, this is kind of a thing where it gives you a little replayability maybe, because next time you play and you remember, like, oh, I remember what this guy says, so this time I'm going to talk to him with my cleric, or I'm going to talk to him with my rogue, or whatever case may be. But it does kind of ruin the first playthrough because you're wishing you can then, and you feel like kicking yourself in the head, but you're not psychic. How could you have known what this character was going to say and who to approach him with from the beginning? And that's one of those things where they're standing right there. Obviously, you know, if this was a D&D campaign and you saw an opportunity and the group agreed, let's let the rogue try to do a deception on them and tell a lie or whatever, that's something the group would decide and let the rogue do that, right? So you can't really do that in Baldur's Gate 3 currently. So that's something that Solasta does right, as it gives options for all your characters that you can pick which one responds, and I think Baldur's Gate 3 needs that. And I know it's super complicated because of Baldur's Gate 3's structure, but man, would it make a big difference, and I think it is possible. And honestly, that is my list. Those are the things I really found from Solasta, which is a really cool indie early access. By the way, it's only about 10 hours or so of gameplay, but it's a really interesting, another take on Dungeons & Dragons, and hopefully this trend continues, because I'm really having a lot of nerdy fun here with video games coming out that are trying to implement Dungeons & Dragons into a PC game. I think it's awesome. So hopefully we get more games like that, and people find new ways to try to do that and all that kind of thing. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. And of course, before I go, I do have to say that Baldur's Gate 3 does feel more like a AAA game, higher budget and cinematic, and it should, because it's made by Larian, it's made by a gargantuan team. But even in its earlier builds, Solasta does feel nerdier, I have to say, which is crazy because I'm really nerding out over Baldur's Gate 3 as well. But these things I mentioned, and I'm sure leave in the comments down below if you've played both. I'm sure there's more. These are the ones that stood out to me the most from playing Baldur's Gate 3 and also playing through Solasta. So let me know in the comments down below if there's some other things you think, and they don't have to be from Solasta, just some other improvements you would like to see in Baldur's Gate 3 before it launches officially to make this the coolest CRPG of all time. What does it need? And you let me know what you think down below. And of course, guys, thanks for joining me today, and a big shout out to the members of Napalm. Thank you so much for making this channel possible and supporting me in my journey here on YouTube. If you're interested in becoming a member, please click the join button down below for more information and a list of perks. And until next time, guys, God bless and happy gaming. Please listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. It's a video buffet, you can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize, but please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.